In this video, we're gonna talk about the best movies of 2021. First up, a little disclaimer, this is of course my personal opinion. You could disagree and it's totally fine, but now let's talk about the, in my opinion, best movies of 2021. Also, I'm trying not to spoil anything, I'm not talking about any major plots, and I'm just using scenes from the trailers. So if you're someone who doesn't watch the trailers, please turn this video off immediately. Please actually don't, because I really need to watch time. Of course, movie genres are very different and you can't really compare an action film to a horror film, so we're gonna categorize and differentiate the movies in a few categories. Also, this isn't a list which includes every single movie that came out this year, because I most certainly haven't watched every movie that came out this year. I probably watched every major movie that came out at the cinemas, but since the cinemas were closed a lot this year, I haven't gone to the cinemas as much as in the last years, but you could probably say that I have watched every major release that came out, at least here in Germany. So it's just a list of the best movies that I have watched and not the best movies like the Oscars and, you know, just the best cinema movies and Netflix whatever that I've watched, which still are a lot, so let's go. First, let's talk about the, in my opinion, best action film of 2021, starting with the honorable mentions. Now, even though I'm the biggest Fast and Furious fan, I wasn't the biggest fan of the 9th installation because it was too little over the top for me. After Fast and Furious 7 and 8, I would have really enjoyed if they would have exaggerated it even more. Now, Cash Truck was pretty nice and Shang-Chi The Legend of the Ten Rings was definitely a nice surprise. The beginning scene in the bus was just amazing, but since I'm not the biggest fantasy fan, I didn't really enjoy the rest of the film as much in regards to it being an action film, because I like my action films to be somewhat realistic. Not that Fast and Furious or any other major action films would be realistic at all, but I think you get the point of what I mean. I just don't like, I don't know, flying dragons and stuff in my action films. So maybe it's in the wrong category, but it had some pretty nice action scenes, so I thought I'd include it in the action film category. So of course we're gonna have to give that one to James Bond No Time to Die. The film received some mixed reviews and many didn't like the end, which we're not gonna talk about, so stay calm. But I think it was a great film. The cinematography was so on point as you'd expect it for a James Bond film, and the story was something different. So the best action film in 2021, in my opinion, was James Bond No Time to Die. Now let's talk about the best horror film of 2021, and that one is, in my opinion, by far Malignant. Now, Malignant was a big surprise, not just talking about the insanely good twist in the movie, which again we're not gonna talk about, but I also loved how it was very different from what I expected from watching the trailer. And that was very good because the trailer didn't really catch me that much. I was thinking it's just another paranormal horror film, but it's also directed by James Wan, so let's watch it. But I was blown away by the film, by the twist, everything is just so great about the film. So whether you're a die-hard horror film fan or just the average cinema visitor, I'd highly recommend you to give it a try and watch Malignant. Actually, I wanna watch it again right now. The honorable mentions for horror films this year are A Quiet Place 2, Candyman, and The Conjuring: The Devil Make Me Do It. I love the part where they say this line, that's also from the trailer.
The court accepts the existence of God every time a witness swears to tell the truth. I think it's about time they accept the existence of the devil.
And Saw Spiral, I don't really know. I'm a huge Saw fan and it was okay, but since I hope this isn't a spoiler, but I think it's something you get from the trailer, since it's so far from the other parts of the series, it didn't really feel like a real Saw film for me, so not on the list. Now, I don't know how to call this next category, probably best experimental film. It's kind of a musical, but also not really, more like a few music videos stitched together, and it's also pretty funny, so it could be a comedy as well. For those of you that still don't know what I'm talking about, you have to watch Bo Burnham's Inside. I don't know, I can't explain the amount of creativity and cleverness this dude put into a film he really made all by himself. It's just amazing, give it a try. Talking about comedy, and we already also talked about action, I sadly still haven't watched Red Notice. I wanted to watch it yesterday to include it on this list, but I didn't have the time to watch it. So I just watched the trailer and can't really say anything about it, but it probably would have made the list. I mean, just look at this cast. But since I haven't watched it, it's not on the list, but it's definitely on my watch list and I want to watch it in the next few days. I'll leave you a comment down below if it's the best comedy film, which it probably is because The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and so many other great people. Next, let's talk about the best zombie film of 2021. I gotta give it to Army of the Dead, not just because it's the only zombie film I watched this year, but also because the whole setting in Las Vegas, the whole sets itself and the cast was amazing. Matthias Schweighöfer played a role in it. He's a German actor, so that's kind of cool to see German actors in big Hollywood productions. In case you didn't know, I'm from Germany. But again, I'm not gonna cover it in great detail, but I didn't really like the ending of the film. Actually, I hated the end because it left me very unsatisfied, which for some of you could be a good thing, but for me it wasn't. But I haven't yet watched the sequel Army of Thieves, which looked pretty interesting, like the whole thing, but without zombies, at least from the trailer. Of course, we still have a few big movies coming out this year. Matrix is still coming, and Resident Evil, which could be a strong candidate to push Army of the Dead off the throne when it comes to the best zombie movie of 2021. But these films aren't out yet because they are coming out on the 23rd of December, I think, so next week. But I'm also gonna let you know down below in the comments what I think about them and if they would have made the list. And I sadly didn't make it in time to watch Godzilla vs. Kong due to the cinemas closing because of COVID and then closing when they were able to open again because of renovation. Great timing, but it's definitely on my watch list and I only heard great stuff about it. And that's already it from this list. Which movies have I missed in 2021? If you have any suggestions, be sure to leave them down below in the comments and I'll be sure to watch them over the holidays. That's it from this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and also consider subscribing for more filmmaking related videos just like this one. And I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye.